You know, I think about us, the three of us, what we could be. I think about it all the time.
Please. It's terrible.
No, it's not. I know June. She's my friend. I care about her. How's your day going? You look pretty.
Thanks. I wore it just for you. Her father's a driver named Nick. He helped me to survive. Yes, you can, because I can't lose you.
I'm not gonna let anything happen to you.
What about you?
Your girlfriend is a badass.
Welcome to Above the Garage, a Nick and June, the Handmaid's Tale podcast.
Hi, friends. Welcome to our deep dive into Season 2, Episode 8 of The Handmaid's Tale, which is entitled Women's Work. Let's do our round of introductions and dive in.
Hi, I'm Scarlett.
Hi, I'm Marigold.
Hi, I'm Julia.
And I'm Kate.
Okay, before we dive in today, we have some good news and bad news. If you follow us on Twitter, you already know this, or Instagram. So go ahead and follow us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and Tumblr and I'm not sure what else, but come follow us everywhere because we do add new content every day, every week. Okay, back to the bad news. First, we are going to skip the rewatch next week for Handmaid's Tale. Super sad, I know, but it is for a very good reason. Elizabeth Moss's new show, Shining Girls, is coming out on Apple TV Plus on Friday. And we had the crazy idea to make a spin-off podcast. Special episodes, really, for our Above the Garage podcast. Because we are here because of Lizzie Moss. She's amazing, and we know that this show is going to be amazing. So we're excited to watch it and discuss it with you guys. So next week, we're going to take off of Handmaid's Tale. Something we used to be really excited about, and now is less exciting now that we have a podcast, is that they're releasing 3 episodes at once on Friday. So that is amazing as a spectator and a little bit challenging as a podcast, especially made up of just fans. We don't get the early watches that the press does. So we're going to binge it on Friday and start recording this weekend and release episode 1 on Monday, episode 2 on Tuesday, and episode 3 on Wednesday. And then in subsequent weeks, we're going to stick with our Handmaid's Tale recordings on Monday, spoiler free, Wednesday, deep dive, and then add the Shining Girls episode on Tuesdays. So they're going to be jam-packed weeks. We're super excited about the challenge. I'm going to have a marathon of recording and editing this weekend to get it out for you guys in time. And thank you to all my friends on the podcast for laughing off my insane idea for like 60 seconds until you realized I was serious and then jumping on board. I love you all so much, and I'm super psyched for this challenging couple months ahead. All right, so I think that's everything. Please come listen to us. I think you'll like it. Obviously, anything that Lizzie touches is gold, and she not only acts in this, but is executive producer and directs episodes 5 and 7. And we know how good she is at directing the penultimate episode. So it's going to be awesome. Elizabeth Moss's production company, Love and Squalor, this is actually its first project. Also, the book, The Shining Girls by Lauren Bucas, it's phenomenal. I read it many years ago, rereading it this week, almost done, and it's just so good. So there's about 1 million reasons we know that this show is going to be amazing. So give it a shot and come listen to our podcast next week. All right? Okay, back to Handmaid's Tale, episode 2-8. Let's dive in.
So I guess, not to spoil, a little bit of 209, but do you guys think that if Fred didn't beat Serena, do you think she still would have told June in this next episode that she can't stay there? Because I think she's humiliated and she doesn't want June around to, like, it's a constant reminder of Fred beating her, and just, I don't know, there's always that power dynamic between Serena and June. And obviously they were cool at the beginning of this episode, and then at the end they weren't.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I get really frustrated by how quickly they let Fred succeed at dividing them.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, I feel like we discussed a little bit in spoiler free that was the purpose of him making June watch while he lashed Serena, because she was the one with the higher status that was supposed to be superior to June, and he took her down, all the way to June's level, below June's level, I guess, because June has not been lashed with a belt like a child, you know? So his purpose was to humiliate her in front of June and divide them. And immediately it worked because June went to her room to console her, and Serena turned her away and turned back into Mrs. Waterford. So I do think that you're right. I think it probably is an enormous impact on their future relations. But it's the wrong answer because they should just be a team against Fred, you know?
Well, Fred was not going to allow that, obviously. And it's also a way to remind Serena what her place is, which is below Fred. And I think Serena rather have a little bit of that power and get that baby that she wants. She knows she's going to be able to get that through Fred, not through June. So she chose, I think, in a way, to stay with Fred for that reason. And like Marigold said, June would be a constant reminder of that.
I disagree that I agree, like, overall, but like it wouldn't hurt her. She'll still get the baby, even if she is not as unkind to June as she's going to be. I think, like I said in the last episode, or maybe the one before that, I forget, but I think that Serena consistently makes terrible decisions for herself and her own happiness.
Yeah.
Fred's not going to do anything for her. He's going to follow the rules of Gilead, and that's going to happen no matter whether she is friendly with June or not. So she has the option to have a ally in the house that she's built something of a relationship with in the last episode, and they're both intelligent. Her brain needs to be used. Serena's happiest when she's using her brain, and June could be that person to help her do that, but instead she decides to be petty and yeah, she was mortified from what happened in the office that, you know, June will never forget, and she could tell all the other handmaids, etc. So
yeah, you know, she won't see herself as higher up, and she likes that higher up. She'll see herself as an equal to June, and she can't allow that. Her belief doesn't.
Her ego can't allow that.
Yeah, her ego.
Also, like we have discussed this part of the other woman. I mean, Serena knows that Fred also has like a super weak spot for June, and I think that's always been a thorn.
Yeah.
In their like in June and Serena's relationship, because she clearly feels threatened by June.
Yeah, I mean, I think at some point someone said, like, June literally has everything that she wants, right? She has Fred's lust, or I don't know what it is that Fred is capable of feeling, but attention, yes. The baby, she has Nick's actual love, she has friends, she has handmade friends. She literally has everything that Serena can't have. And so the fact that they were able to find a common ground in this episode at all is kind of amazing.
Yeah, because they were working towards the same goal, kind of. They wanted to get rid of Commander Cushing. And so, yeah, that was the reason why they were able to work together. But
I'm glad the show did that, though.
As soon as that got taken away, they've been in their old roles again, and it cannot work out for long. They're they're the same intelligent, strong women, but in Gilead's society, they are too different because they're not on the same level in Gilead.
Right. It's just so fascinating that like Serena could never be happy in Gilead ever, and she doesn't get that, and that's like crazy to me.
No, I like that in this episode that the work for women was explored, kind of like what work for women's self-esteem or whatever self-worth can do. I love that.
I like too. I was sad for the Martha that got it quickly taken away, you know.
But you could tell, like, she's so smart. Like, she just like jumped right back into it, like,
I know,
without like missing like a beat. Like,
how many years later, we don't know, and she's ordering all the same tests, and she knows exactly. And that information is just like stagnating in her brain at all times while she bakes bread, and it's just the stupidest society ever that only men could have come up with. No offense, men, I'm sorry.
Men plus Serena.
Yeah, basically men came up with it because, you know, women are not supposed to, you know, they're not supposed to have anything else. And, you know, this episode shows that, and this whole marriage thing and woman's role and how they can't read or they can't work because it'll threaten everything that men want to feel for some odd reason. It doesn't make any sense to me. And that's exactly what Gilead is.
The men aren't happy either. The commanders are not happy. Like, they built this society where even the founders, the highest men that wrote these rules, they're miserable too. Everyone is miserable.
Yeah,
It's
because
amazing.
the only thing that has power in Gilead is the system. Nobody is safe. Like,
yeah,
even commanders can get killed.
Right. Like we saw, yeah.
Like, or executed or whatever for a misconduct.
Nobody's safe here.
Yeah.
Everybody should be on edge and terrified, and they are. And wow.
It's based on fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are some parallels in this to current political situations where everyone's pro-life before a baby is born, but then after a baby is born, they don't care about that baby's health care. And it's like what happened with Fred in this episode. You know, he's all for children until there's one at risk and you have to bring a woman in to help. And now children aren't as important as being sexist. And there are parallels in current society.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that Fred can't feel empathy as far as I can tell. Like, I'm not sure that in any part of the show ever, flashbacks.
Not anymore.
The future. Well, I don't think in flashbacks, do we see him feel empathy?
Towards Serena.
I think he was like, when they were in that movie theater talking about the attacks, you could tell he had some like
reservation.
He was kind of like wavering. Yeah.
Because in a lot of the scenes that I'm thinking about right now, he's literally just like baffled by the idea of love, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, truly, like, looks like he just can't understand it. And I think even Joseph Fiennes said in that interview that in the season 2 finale, when Nick's holding him at gunpoint while June and the baby get away, just the baby in the end, he's not taking more action because he just doesn't understand. He's like looking at Nick in awe that somebody could actually care about somebody else enough to do this, to risk their life, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And really the stunning thing is that you couldn't do that for your wife or your baby, even if it's not your biological baby, like your baby, your adopted baby. There's something missing in him. I don't know. You see him, he seems to love Serena in the before days, but then definitely after Gilead, he has no soul. I don't know.
Yeah. Scarlett asked in the spoiler-free analysis about if we think, what was it, that Fred was taking June's apology sincerely or not, or whatever. And I was just watching episode 210 earlier, and there are some more hints that he's actually not taking June's manipulation that easily anymore in that episode as well. That's why I said I'm a little bit biased, because I think he didn't really take it.
Yeah.
He was saying, okay, yeah, she apologized, but he still felt the betrayal of June. And I think he's not that easy, like maybe more easily forgiving than Serena, but he definitely didn't take it 100% at that point, I think.
Yeah, I think him not opening the door was a big sign of that too. But I think she tried to smile afterward. Like, we were talking about this in spoiler free. And Scarlett, you think that he did take her apology, but he wants to punish her a little more, right?
Well, I think maybe she thinks that she can still manipulate him. I understand what you guys are trying to say, because if I think to season 4, he tells her, you do that so well. He told her this before, in season 1. So Fred knows that she's manipulating him, but he doesn't care because that's what he wants. He's oblivious.
Yeah.
So I think maybe June thought, when she tried to smile, okay, well, she knows there's no going back with Serena. So the only thing she has left is trying to manipulate Fred. So that's why I read that scene that way.
Well, I think we all agree that that's what her action was, right? That she was trying to manipulate Fred because she lost Serena. But I think that I think him not letting her in, and she tried to smile afterwards, but she couldn't, and it dissolved into tears. I think that she understood that he's not buying her manipulation, but it's not like it's a permanent.
Yeah, and then like in as I said in 2 episodes later, when she's going to him to ask that she's going to be sent to Hannah's district because Serena was suggesting that she changes positions and she will be living in a different district, and June goes to Fred and asks him if she could get at least into the same district as Hannah, and he's like super angry at that suggestion. And so it's like, okay, she tried again to manipulate him, and he immediately debunked that.
Why do you think that I forget the word you said, but he's angry at her for what exactly?
Yeah, because I mean, he always thought that June's his little like toy thing, yeah. But seeing Serena, and he always thought and saw that actually Serena and June don't get along at all, and suddenly they form this bond behind his back, and they are the household. It's the women running his household.
Right.
This is the biggest form of betrayal for him, I think.
Right. It's so funny.
It's threatening to him.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like Fred is manipulated, and sometimes like I feel like he's not. Even when the second time June goes to Jezebel's, like he knew that she was manipulating him. But then also in, I think it was 210 when they go to the summer house where she sees Hannah, and then June is hiding when Fred and Serena get there, and like Fred is so like in disbelief that like Nick and June would like turn on him, and like Serena's like, you idiot, you know, like so like maybe he's just a narcissist and thinks that like everything revolves around him. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. That's why he doesn't care that he's getting manipulated.
That's true. Yeah.
At least he's getting the attention. At least. Like
that's a good point.
That's that's what I feel. Like he needs that attention. He needs to feel that women need him. That's why he gets so mad at Serena. You know, like in the past episode, it flashes again to that hospital, and then when she cuts her finger in the greenhouse, you know, he says something like, you know, you're so strong. You know, I prayed that God made me worthy, because she knows Serena doesn't need him.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't really the brains in the relationship before.
Not at all.
So,
and it's funny too. He was very supportive of her career too. When she went to go speak at that college, like he was right by her side, and you know, trying to encourage her
behind the scenes.
Yeah,
there's some subtle power shift in that scene, I think, because she was rejecting his changes to her speech beforehand, and then once the threats happened and it was too dangerous, they left, and he was pushing her to go back in, and she seemed to not necessarily want to. She certainly like did, as he said, but
Fred is a seller. I mean, he's doing marketing, right? He did marketing. So he knows how to brand things, sell things.
Pravaganza, what a good selling. Do you guys so you know, this is the first time we've seen June and Serena as anything but enemies, and they go back and forth a few more times throughout the 4 seasons. Where do you think that they are right now in going into season 5? I mean, obviously the last time that they saw, not the last time, but you know, the scene where June confronts Serena in the holding cell and she's screaming, "Do you understand me?" That was memorable. Do you think though that June would kill Serena like she did Fred if given the opportunity? After Serena's had her baby, she wouldn't kill the baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think she would.
I feel like she would maybe stay her hand the way she did with Lydia in the van in 4th grade. I don't want her to. I want her to kill Serena.
I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't know if she would or not.
Yeah, it's tough. I think like killing Serena wouldn't be enough for June.
Yeah.
As Lawrence said, like even though she killed Fred, I mean, she's not satisfied with just killing him. She wants something else for Serena, I think, like some other form of punishment.
Maybe not kill her, but
make her suffer for eternity until she dies.
You think she wants her to be a handmaid? I hear you.
Yeah, or sent to the colonies and suffer.
I think the show does this really well where, when I watched this first season, these first episodes, I kind of felt bad for Serena at some point, and then obviously since I know what happened through season 4, like watching that scene when she's getting beat up last night, it was a really hard watch, but I couldn't be like, whatever, bitch, she deserved this. Like, I didn't feel bad, but I couldn't like enjoy the fact that she was getting like fucked up. So I think the show does that very well. They do that with Eden too. Like, most people hated Eden. They didn't realize she was a young girl until after, she dies. And then even Rita, who was mean to her. So we kind of have that journey with the characters as well. Same with Matthew in season 3. Everybody was like, oh, she's so annoying. And then when everything happens, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
It's interesting. They do that well.
Do you we were discussing Nick's hand touch caressing letter thing earlier.
We were, yes, we were.
So and I was like thinking that in this moment,
when he's holding the letters?
Yeah, when he's holding the letters. And I said that I think he's contemplating what to do with, like, not just where to hide the letters from now on, but also what to do with them. And going into episode 9 of season 2, when they visit Canada, and we know that he's bringing these letters with him and gets them out. I think like he's already making that plan at that point.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it, doesn't it? Because Serena's already given him the Canada schedule.
Because this trip to Canada is already in the making. It's not like because I think Fred mentioned something like this. Like the trip to Canada is
Serena said, I have the itinerary for your Canada trip or something.
Yeah. So I think like he decided maybe already in that moment that okay.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That could be a way to get those letters out and away from my apartment and away from Eden, who is able to read and poses a threat, even though she's probably never going to read the letters. But we will not take the risk.
Right. No, that's interesting because he is looked like he's planning in that moment, and we have heard Canada discussed in this episode. So you're probably right. It's probably exactly what he's thinking. It's like that's the moment he's deciding, oh, I need to take these and get them out now. And it's interesting you said that, like, because Eden can read, and for a second I was like, wait, can she? Maybe she is too old. But like,
always thinking, like, can she still read? Like, how long is it since they're not allowed to read anymore?
Yeah.
Did they forget how to read now already?
She's probably like 9 or something, maybe, when it happened.
So she should have at least read. Some. Yeah, but if you haven't been reading for like 4 or 5 years, I don't know if you can forget to read.
Like riding a bike, who knows?
Like, I mean, it happens in Japanese. It happens to me that I actually forget how to read the symbols, but I think
that looks very hard. I feel like it's different.
It's a little different.
Something that's interesting to me is, like, we obviously know that Eden's a true believer, by the rules, by the book, all Gilead. But in a few episodes, we learn that she's reading the Bible and she's writing on the Bible. So it's like, so you're still breaking the rules, but it just comes to show the need that people have to read and learn and stuff.
To make sense of all this mess, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
What did you do with your brain? Like, I don't understand what the founders of this place don't understand about, like, boredom and the need to use your brain.
They don't care.
I just can't wrap my mind around what, like, handmaids do all day. Didn't somebody say, like, in the Red Center they taught them to, like, nap a lot or something? I swear I saw this somewhere.
I mean, honestly, I probably would too, just to, like, pass the time.
When I was doing the research, I just wanted to read it. There's so much misunderstanding in our world today about the roles of a husband and a wife within a marriage. Even when the biblical roles are properly understood, many choose to reject them in favor of a supposed emancipation of women, with the result that the family unit is torn apart. It's no surprise that the world rejects God's design, but God's people should be joyfully celebrating that design. And that punishment, that, for us is so horrible, it was legal up to the mid 19th century. Just like marital rape was legal as well until, that's what people believed, that the man was the head of the household, God is the head of the church, you're giving God-like qualities to a man, so a man's going to assume that he can discipline his wife like a child. So it's like, if you guys read the pages that I found, you die. Like, I had to shower today after I was done in the morning.
Where did you find them?
Well, because I was looking for what the Bible says about disciplining your wife. And I'm like, okay, does the Bible say
that's
this?
a rabbit hole I don't want to go down.
Well, unfortunately, I did. And I found that, like, I found a whole bunch of stuff. And the meaning of the verses, when I said earlier that he copy pasted the verses, is because you have this verse that kind of hints at that, but then they fix it by, well, you still have to respect your wife. But
right. But he doesn't.
It's not about the interpretation. The Bible says it. No matter, what version you're reading, it's really messed up, because that's the base of the society that we live in, And I even found an article, I just can't find it now, where it says that's the base of a patriarchal society is the patriarchal marriage, and that's the way that things should be, period. It's horrible.
The past few episodes I've been trying to put together what is the core belief system of Gilead, their theology, and I can't make sense of it, because I won't get too in depth of it, but
yeah, but that is interesting, because I'm curious what it was based on. And did they burn down that Catholic church in the first season?
Mm-hmm.
Is that she said was her dad's parish, so I'm curious what exactly.
I always just get the sense that they kind of just pick whatever they want.
I think
from the Bible,
right?
Especially in season 1 in episode 8, when we have the scene with Waterford, Guthrie, and Price, and Nick is driving them, and they're talking about the Handmaid system, and then I think Price mentions that there's reference in the scripture or something, so they're just discussing laws and rules they want to do, and then they're okay, I know a verse in the Bible, it's perfect, we do this.
They use the Old Testament a lot.
Yes,
they use the New Testament though too, because they used Corinthians for
Nick used that.
Nick used Corinthians,
but I think he was supposed to read it. I think.
I'm just saying maybe it's relevant that he's the one that reads the New Testament and other people read the Old Testament.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know enough about my Bible to reinforce that, but maybe.
I think they go by the Old Testament.
Yeah.
All right. So you said that Fred was his reading was from 2 Bible verses, but he doesn't turn the page, right? He just opens the book and supposedly reads these 2 Bible verses. Oh, he does turn it.
Yeah. No, he doesn't turn the page. He doesn't turn the page. He's supposedly reading 1 Bible verse, but I looked it up and it's 2.
So that's pretty funny and interesting and very Gilead style of them to be inaccurately reading the Bible. It's a thing that they
Did you notice the Bible with all the Post-its?
Yeah, I did.
What is that? Is that the okay, I gotta spank Serena? Yeah. This is okay. I gotta, rape a handmaid. Here we go.
Green note means, okay, punish your wife. Red note means how to handle your handmaid. Yeah.
Creepy. The only other thing I had was, that line when it says, stay in Gilead long enough and it starts to eat you from the inside out. And I think that's pretty much kind of June's journey in season 3 and season 4. How she kind of has to become ruthless like the people in Gilead in order to fight her fight, I thought that line was like a foreshadowing to what we get to see in those 2 seasons.
Yeah.
It's like Janine, I think Janine is the only person that is able to maintain her innocent self, herself at all. It eats everybody from the inside out, it's just.
I think Janine's kind of uses her positivity or her quirkiness as a coping mechanism too, though.
Yeah.
And it works. She's been lucky.
Yeah, she's been lucky. And I think she does. I think she is probably the most positive handmaid, I guess.
Easily. Okay, I think that's a wrap on our deep dive into season 2, episode 8 of The Handmaid's Tale. Yulia needs a shout out for being awake at 3 a.m. at the end of this recording.
Seriously,
3 a.m.
Bye.
You know, I think about us, the three of us, what we could be. I think about it all the time.
Please. It's terrible.
No, it's not. I know June. She's my friend. I care about her. How's her day going? You look pretty.
Thanks. I wore it just for you. Her father's a driver named Nick. He helped me to survive. Yes, you can, because I can't lose you.
I'm not gonna let anything happen to you.
What about you?
Your girlfriend is a badass.